magnetic field. I recognize that guy. Magnetic field. Thought it was a jellyfish, huh? Scarab. Dragonfly. Got another one. That was just a few months ago. One of our latest ones. Our three bigger objects in our solar system, and the little gap where we get a little break. Here's our three bigger objects that interact with the sun: Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. All right, howdy folks, welcome back. I told you I would be back, and I told you I would show you this crop circle formation, okay? This kind of represents the configuration, I believe, that what we're seeing here with our three bigger objects in a row and then a little break in between. Okay, this is the solar system kind of representation, and here's three, you know, in a row, and then as they go around the sun, we get a 1, 2, 3, then a little break, and then a 1, 2, 3, and then a break. Okay, so that's the crop circle that kind of represents the cycle that we're in, kind of. And this was stamped into the field on here. Let me just pull up this date one more time. Right here down below, this is June 12th of 2024. Let's see if we can get down there. There it is, June 12th. They got their date backwards. It's not December 6th of 2024 yet. That's June 12th. They write their dates backwards. So that was on June 12th in Wilton Windmill here. Okay, one of our latest crop circles. And I can show you later on in the spiritual report how these things are made. But for right now, let's get started with the show. All right. So while we get dialed in here, first of all, I'd like to take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time to be part of this precious family. All right. And when you stick around to the spiritual report, you'll find out how indeed precious this family is and how precious you are to me. All right. So let's get started here. We're looking at the 20th. They haven't uploaded the data on this site for the 21st. It's out there, but it's not on this site. And there's not really much to look at for the 20th, 21st. We'll go to Stereo A here in a second, but I just wanted to show you here at the 20th that I wanted to report last night. I was doubled over and I had to get some rest. I go until I actually double over and I can't move. So I had to get some rest, but there's a couple little objects flowing by. There's that one right there that you can clearly see, and another one up here when it comes out right there. Okay. And you can see some of the other little debris kind of floating around out there. Looks like our kind of little lull period. You know, when I showed you this crop circle here with the lull period in between all three of them, this would be that where we're at right here in this little lull period type configuration. So a little bit of moons right here, little satellite activity that could be pulled away, but you can see we got some bigger spires growing, one here, one up there, one off to the side here, kind of like that three-way configuration type thing again. All right, but what I want to keep doing is go now over here to the 21st to Stereo A, okay? And it's not much, but they got a little event there, didn't they? Let's just go ahead and back up to right about here. Let me slide. And let's go forward. So starting here, about 1323 on 1021. Okay, that's right. Today, just a little while ago, we had this. And you can see our darker object out front here, pulling a bunch of plasma out with it. And then the wave kind of catches up, goes over them, kind of draping over our objects. Ow. And that was our only kind of few frames right there from the 21st. But that pretty much is the best view that we got of this little event right here that just happened not too long ago. All right, so boom, there's that. Now let's come on over to the solar ham and get this party started. All right, first off, up here, our solar flux indice is at 164. It's up 2 points. Our solar spot number count is 168, and it's up 55. So that means there's a bunch of stuff kind of approaching, and our sunspot number count is growing because we have inbound stuff coming here. So I had to remount my tripod again here. It's not working, but as you can see, our area's in the green, 220, it's good enough. Let's open this up, zoom on in. How you guys doing out there? You guys hanging tough? I know some of you are struggling a little bit. And hopefully today was a little bit smoother for you. Okay, 3859, this region is tapered off, died out, rotating out of the limb. It's out of the strike zone and everything too, where our IMF line hooks up, so that one's kind of done. Main one of concern is 3863, and then this region 3868 that's surrounding the limb right here. We'll get a better perspective on that here in a couple of days, but for right now, it's just this patch that's surrounding the limb right there. All right, now I want to come back to the solar flux, and let's see how fluxed we are. Solar flux, that is. Okay, you can see we had this nice smooth baseline kind of just cruising along here, and you see a little uptick, and now this new baseline that's riding a little bit higher right there, okay? So we had a slight uptick in our solar flux indice, and that's a good representation of it right there. Okay, nice smooth, even though we did see activity, those little satellites, moons, whatever you want to call them, still interacting with the sun. We do have, in between this satellite and the sun was very quiet for the day. Okay, so let me back on out of that now. 110, there we go. So X flare potential 5%, it's way down there. M flare potential is way down too at 40%. We're kind of in that little grace period, that little break zone, I believe. That little opening, that gap in between the three bigger objects. So here we go with our auroras. Right now they're pretty normal. They're gonna look like they're gonna flare up here a little bit. They're starting to get pretty organized. All right, you can see it says quiet, and our solar flux or our KP index went down to 0 here and then came back up. So there was a little deviation here. We had something where this cycle ended off, tapered off, and then now we started another little roller coaster ride here, but it's not too bad because there's not much beta gamma on here at all, just this one beta delta and growing, and that was the 3863 that we pointed out. All right, solar activity is currently at low levels, but for how much longer? Okay, well, we can say, probably another few days until those bigger objects rotate around again, because that seems to be what's happening here. And when you understand how these crop circles are made, they're coming from the divine realm. Some of these symbols are ancient geometry, and they have certain symbolic resonance and value. So we'll get into that as well. But back to our solar activity is currently at low levels, probably for a little while until we move kind of out of this. Where's a good shot of this configuration from this guy? Because I want a better reference. Right there's a good one. Okay, I think this kind of represents these three bigger objects. So we get this 1, 2, 3 in a row, and then we get a break. So this isn't on the line. See how these other ones are on this line or on this orbit? Okay, this other stuff is outside of this orbit, okay? That'd be like Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the other ones going down the line. Your inner planets are in here, and this would go like, well, between Earth and Mars, this orbit right here. So they might be going around back behind us and then coming, swooping around, hitting the sun again. Or this might be how we're interacting with these three objects, okay? These three objects might be a stationary spot in space, much like a black hole or a dense region of space with some dense objects, all right? Three dense objects like that wouldn't necessarily orbit our small star. We might be orbiting them in this weird concentric pattern right here, okay? And I believe this kind of is like a representation of this cycle that we're in right now, okay? And like I said, this was on June 12th of 2024. So now back to, I think, how much longer, maybe another week or so, and we'll start seeing some activity pop up again, I think. All right, back to this. Old sunspot region 38, 42, and 44, last seen earlier this month, will begin to rotate back into view this week. Just how active they are remains to be seen, but increased solar activity may be on the horizon. These old regions right here, they're rotating back around, that stayed alive around the backside trip. Well, they would, if in such a configuration, stay alive around the backside trip, right? Act back here, we get these big flares that go back off the sun, yet still interact with us. We have these ones that come off the side over here and over here. And then here we are facing the sun. This would be the sun in the center. So we would be along that path. And those sunspots, these old sunspot regions, 3842 and 3844, this could be 3842 and this could be 3844, and they're rotating back around. All right, that's kind of the representation I was trying to point out there. All right, we'll see as it goes, but I have a feeling, I've been watching this for a while, and it seems to be this concentric thing that we keep doing over and over again. And well, that when I go to check these higher mathematical three-dimensional crop circles that are being encoded into the ground, a lot of them are decipherable, and that one definitely right there was the representation and of what's going on here, I believe, especially with its recent arrival, the recent arrival of that crop circle here with that configuration kind of tells me, hey, this is what you're seeing right now from like outside looking down. That would almost be a view for the tracker. Let's open up the tracker here. Just do a little track-a-lacking since we're lacking some tracking. Can we please have those? There we go. So similar to that crop circle formation with the sun in the center, here would be Earth, Mars. They're not all perfectly lined up, but that represented our lineup, right? So you would have something out here between Mars and Earth orbiting around, bing, pops off, it would be in that kind of concentric formation, maybe a little further out, who knows? But I think that might represent a little bit of what we're seeing here. Anyways, here's the CME that they're tracking, moving away from us, but always said object that induced the CME might still be coming past our direction, might be still looping around, go by Earth, and then between Earth and Mars, or past Mars or something, or right in that zone, go around and come back out, loop around, come back in. So just because the CME is moving this direction, I've pointed out many times, if this round circle was a magnetic field and this object has a magnetic field, when the two fields touch, it would cause a spark to jump. It's an electric system, so it would cause an arc off of the sun like that. And then said object could still move past us with its own radiation. Okay, but this doesn't look like it's from one of our bigger objects. This is probably from one of the little satellite moons that we just saw, and they don't seem to carry as much geomagnetic radiation with them. So I don't think we'll see an enhancement out of this one. It seems to be just one little small satellite, not one of our three bigger main objects. I wish I had my lab where I could do three-dimensional display setups with planets and in orbits and give you a real representation that you could wrap your brain around. Anyways, there's that for now. Let's back on out. All right. Now, this old gift that we were looking at the other day that was on here, we'll have to come find it again here a little later. When the comet crossed in front of this, it went by. Remember, it looked like it was heading towards an object that was coming out of this area, and that would be in line with one of these areas, right? I think the comet might be attracted to one of these. And as we get close to this, it looks like the comet's heading towards us. It misses the sun and goes over. And remember, this one was coming off this side when we saw it. So it could have passed over and hit said object right here, or this object that it was attracted to in the first place. We were just kind of close by. See what I'm saying? When I saw that comet streak in and pass the camera and stuff, I kind of thought, wouldn't that be something if it just disintegrated after passing the sun? And sure enough, it disintegrated. Now we got what? The headless comet, or what I call the headless horseman, because a lot of these signs in the heavens are the horses riding, the four horses of the apocalypse, the red horse, the pale horse. Well, it doesn't talk about a headless horseman in the Bible per se, but in old lore and legends, there is a tale of the headless horseman. And when we talk about signs and horseman signs, well, that would be kind of a sign in the heavens. And if it did indeed disintegrate and turn into a nuke or a comet without a tail here, well, that's what we might have. So let's go ahead and get into this article real quick. The sun is taking a quick break. Solar Max is hard work, and just ask the sun. After flaring almost without pause for the last 10 months, the sun is taking a quick break. Solar activity has been low for the past 48 hours with no flares stronger than Category C. The quiet won't last. Solar Max is expected to continue for at least another year. Flaring should resume shortly. I agree. Now let's get into the headless comet for Halloween. The headless comets are a real thing, and we might see one this weekend. Comet Atlas, or C2024S1, is falling toward the sun for a close encounter on October 28th. Astronomers monitoring the comet say it's fluctuating in brightness by a plus or minus 2 magnitudes, a sign that its core is breaking apart. The comet has almost certainly disintegrated, said so-and-so. There's probably not much left of its primary core. Okay, so in other words, the comet may be all tail and no head. We'll find out soon. Okay, the headless comet, or what would be, a horseman riding in the heavens, well, would be headless now, wouldn't it? It would be a headless horseman, kind of. So that's why I kind of titled this, because this thing appeared to be heading towards one of those other objects, and now it's disintegrated before, well, or after. It says it's still approaching the sun on October 26th. We're at the 21st, but in between us and that satellite, it went across. We saw the tail interact with the sun and then switch directions. So from our perspective, it has passed the sun. Maybe from the satellite, or maybe from a different perspective, it hasn't. But it could be all tail and no head. We'll find out soon. It's just odd that when I saw that before, I'll try to look it up another day here. It was about a week or so ago on this one where we saw the comet go across. It kind of slowed down for a second. There was a CME, and then it continued on and looked like it was heading towards an object that would, emerge from behind the sun, or that we passed by. See, like that one right there? And the comet kind of went past the sun, and the tail changed, and then it started heading towards something over here. Well, it looked like maybe that may have been our cause for the disintegration. We'll see what happens here, but it's just odd when I saw that heading towards that object. It kind of made me think for a second. I wonder, wouldn't that be something if it kind of just, this one disintegrates out of nowhere? So, and it kind of did. So, before we get into this one, I need to do the Schumann report really quick. Let me pull up the Schumann. I had so much opening pages open there, so let me get this sucker open. Okay, here we are at the Schumann. You can see we've had pretty smooth, good continuity. There was some grinding and stuff yesterday a little bit. There's some weakness right there. This is where field got weak for a moment. Then we picked up, we started grinding really hard. You see these intense white bands. White denotes the intensity. All right, this is our core and shell grinding and very intense 7.83, as well as all the surrounding frequencies. Between 16 to 24 here, 24 to 0 right there was intense. Then it fluctuates, and pressure leaves either via volcano or earthquake, and then it lets up, but then pressure builds up. We start grinding again. We have a release. We go back to normal, builds up, starts grinding again, and release. So in the last little 8 hours here or so, we've had this little roller coaster ride. And yesterday was quite a little, well, not a big event, but we did have this bumpiness here. Okay, so there's your Schumann report. Now let's get on over here. Really quick, before we get into these storms, I want to go back down to the surface and point a couple of things out really quick. Now, over here, we have. Oh, well. All right. Here we have our intertropical convergence zone clear up at this latitude. It's supposed to be down here at the equator. It's way up here at this new latitude up here. So our weather patterns have shifted like 15 degrees north, and now we're getting weird hurricane activity out here. Now, luckily, this one's kind of heading out into the Pacific and not going into the Gulf this time. But you can see this air crossing the equator and going up into the northern hemisphere, then converging with the northern air up at this latitude instead of down at the equator. And it's not just there, it happens over on this side too. See that? We've had a shift in our intertropical convergence zone. And there's articles talking about it now, finally. So they're recognizing it. Now, here you can see it comes up to that latitude. This little vortex here is starting to pull stuff up into Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, this vortex over here is pulling stuff up into this area, Malaysia. We have this big old storm over here hitting the Philippines. Okay. And then our intertropical convergence zone goes all the way over to like right here and kind of gets a little broken up in this area. But you can see that it is definitely shifted, and it's still happening. This has been going on for a minute now, okay? So let me take you up to the storm level really quick. I want to just show you a couple of this storm again. Here we have a very strong storm lashing the Philippines right here. Another cyclonic typhoon hitting the Philippines. Meanwhile, we got this one out here starting to flare up, and it looks to hit this region right there. We got this vortex. Whoa, there's, oh, dang it, if I can just caught that. There's another vortex starting to rotate out here. And then we had that big old storm that just hit the UK and everything too the other day. All right, now what I want to do is get you over to the sandstorm. Whoops, right there. And switch over to our particulates. Get to our dust extinction aerosol. Such a beautiful term. Meanwhile, our sandstorm in pretty good shape, reaching off the coast of Africa. You can see pretty dense and pretty strong. This whole thing, big old arm reaching out again with its thumb up in the air, saying, giving you thumbs up, and pushing out another little wave out in front of it here. So that's good. We're keeping sand, dispersed through this area, which is hampering the hurricane genesis in that region. I wonder if maybe I drop down a little bit. Nope. Oh, well. Now let's get on over to this side, shall we? As you can see, this has changed up quite a bit. We have this new little intense little ribbon with these little fingers jutting off here. Instead of the two eyes, the nose, and the scary face that was over there. Looks like he's kind of looking at this region now. But you can see intensity there. I'm going to go ahead and put the winds back on. Let's see how the winds are kind of taking all of this sand, throwing it around, and then dispersing it around the globe there. Oh, well. Trying to get the titles off the top part there. Less border in the screen. All right, so there's your sandstorm report right there really quick. Now, let's come on over to our SO2. And this is sulfur dioxide, not carbon dioxide, okay? Come on over to our country divided. Geez, can you see it? Can you see the divide going right down the country right here? All right, so on one side it's bleeding out. We got soft porous crust. It's very spongy, very porous, so it just comes out of every little hole in the ground. Meanwhile, on the western side, we got, thicker granite crust with volcanic perforations in the ground that'll let SO2 out. So there's your country divided with a lightning bolt now. Wow, can you guys see that? Nope, I know you can't. There we go. Well, it's just going to continue slipping. All right, let's just go ahead and do the fire report. Add the fires to it. Now, our activity is kind of shifted north again with our fires, more up into Canada. You see these ones going around here, some of these plume sites. A couple right here along the coast. We come on down into the lower 48, and it's no longer up in like Oregon, Washington. There seems to be a little outbreak going on right around this area in the Central Valley of California, and you can see our SO2 intrusion in that area. Pretty good one coming out of what's this, Mount Shasta up there probably. And you can see SO2 coming out of this volcanic range here. Even a couple little fires, nothing too big, but luckily all that stuff down in Idaho and Wyoming and Montana and stuff has died down a little bit, so that's good. All right. So let me go ahead and take off the fires now and continue around the globe here. Do a little globe trotting. Amazing, that little streak. All right, down here in Mexico, you can see these volcanoes down here spewing a bunch of SO2 along the coast here. Very intense, dark plumes right now. A little indication that pressure is built up down below. We see Cuba, even though they're in the dark right now and no power, they're still producing SO2. And same with Jamaica. These islands all out here are the northern part of South America, coming all the way down the west coast. We come down to our little area here, Fulcrum Point, where we check on our little main one right there and a couple other here. This one's pretty strong tonight. The other fifth one is still hanging tough there. So a lot of pressure, a lot of SO2 being released in that area right there. The Fulcrum Point doing its job. Meanwhile, we come down here, pretty strong emissions, getting dark in this area again. Okay, and you can see this SO2 plume coming out. And there's more out there in the ocean, so good indication that a lot of SO2 is being released, relieving a lot of pressure in that region, keeping earthquake magnitudes down. Now, just the last few days, we've had a big flurry of 5 magnitude earthquakes. Magnitude 5, mid-range 5, right? Isn't that where I said I like to see them right around that level because, well, then they don't do too much damage. Here, I'm going to do a quick little adjustment while we're doing this. So, remember I was saying they don't do too much damage. So the last couple of days of seeing magnitude 5, mid-range 5, it's just what I like to see. That's a good thing. Hopefully we get a little bit better placement on this thing. Bear with me for a second, or else I'll just end up fidgeting with it all night, and it'll just bug you guys even more. It still didn't work enough. Alright, bear with me here, because either that or my OCD will kick in too. Alright, hopefully it's a little bit better. I'm trying to get the border out of there as much as I can. Alright, so a lot of SO2 coming out of the ground, and we've seen the darkening in this region. Look at this. Look how dark it's getting over here on the East Coast. It's starting to look like China, huh? That's some pretty intense SO2 emissions. There's a lot of pressure underneath this area. You see that, you guys? An uptick in pressure in this region right here, because there's an uptick in the darkness of the plumes right there. So good thing we kind of stopped there for a minute and did a little adjusting. Capture that for a second. All right, a little bit better there. So yeah, well, everybody in this area, watch out, or just know that you got a lot of SO2 coming out of that region right now. There's a lot of pressure down below in that area. Okay, thank you guys for being so patient while I try to adjust the camera. I tried to get it a little better when we first started. And it seemed to have slipped. All right, now we're getting into our thermal heat anomalies at the ocean surface. A lot of these are caused because there's thermal openings, volcanic openings on the ocean floor, causing plumes, hot plumes, to rise up. Hot columns to hit the underside of the water. The surface tension causes them to, spread out like a blossom or like a plume. And then we get these hot water anomalies at the surface. And here's our triangle structure. Not too bad right now. It's still got its tail going right there. But what we really want to do is kind of zoom in here. We have this spot right off of the Bay Area right here. And we saw what Mount Shasta emitting SO2 at the top of the valley right there. So a good size heat plume right here. There is still a little cold water inundation right along the coast that's fighting it off. But you look up here, our Wanda Fuca comes out, goes on up, zigzags, a lot of cold water in there right now, which tells me something has relieved the pressure in this region. Either something opened up out here and pressure transferred, or we're seeing pressure transfer through our SO2 emissions along this volcanic, the Cascades there, okay? Whichever way it is, it's relieving pressure, and that's good because we don't want a big build up here. It could be devastating. So that's good, but we still got this right off the northern California right there. We also have this little finger reaching up in towards the outside of the bay right there too. Meanwhile, this area down here used to be cut off. Now it's kind of connecting with all of this. This new little area right here has reached out. Okay, so it looks like these openings out here transferred pressure transferred to the nearest path, or path of least resistance right there. So when that happened, I think this is what kind of deadened the pressure and the earthquake activity in that area. But you can see we still have this little red blob that's kind of connecting here, which could be good. It could be relieving even more. All right, now as we pull back, we look down here, we have a big colds patch, another heat patch. This is Tamumasi and all the seamounts around it on the ocean floor. They're either emitting hot water, steam, SO2, could be, even magma, even possibly heavier elements like cesium, radioactive elements, possibly too, as well, come out. All right, and you see white in this area, so it's been very intense and stuff in that area lately. So this main region has been like the main relief valve right out here for a lot of this heat. Now, as we come over here to some of our other ones, here's Taiwan, and you see this yellow finger reaching in right here. This is hot water reaching the surface, probably because we have new openings there. Pressure built up so much it wasn't relieved at this relief valve as much anymore, and now we're starting to see hot water plumes off the coast of Taiwan right in the fulcrum point. Right in there, okay? You can see that area has got a yellow stripe in there, so they're probably going to have a bigger magnitude quake if this isn't, if this isn't relieving pressure by opening up like that. But you can see we have a difference there over the course of a couple of days now. Meanwhile, over here at Java, look at this heat signature on the backside here at this island. Right there. Okay, we got a little glowing yellow over in here. Right off the coast, right here. There's barely any cold water left right there. So this is like jammed up too as far as relieving pressure. And now pressure is building in this region. And we're starting to see, openings on the ocean floor open up and relieve pressure through this volcanic system right here. Okay. All right, let's go on up the coast. You see Sumatra. These islands used to be a little lit up. There was one that was really lighting up out here where there's no island, but that is diminished because all of this is opened up now. We got big old area, many spots here that have opened up, almost like a little rip or a zipper type effect right there. Okay. Another region blossoming here off the coast of Africa. New spots opening up like this can create new vortexes, new conveyor belt structures. We come over here to the Atlantic. You can see all this area along the north coast of South America, and even out here a little bit, some hot water plumes. Our conveyor belt structure thing is going to change. You see this hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Then we have this cold patch. Now, let me go ahead and put on the wind currents and take this down and pull back and let you just kind of look around for a second here. Let's start really quick here. You see this flow coming in across Florida, turning and going up through the center part of the country, keeping this area kind of inactive and this half of the country very active. Now let's just kind of put it right there for a minute and you can see your conveyor belt structure has changed. We have the flow pattern coming off of Africa here where we have a hurricane genesis, a lot of the sandstorm diminishing that, thankfully, and kind of turning and taking some of the stuff right back up. All right, so we have a peel off here, a separation in our conveyor belt that's taking like half of the energy and pulling it right back out. Meanwhile, some of it's still creeping up and then going east to west across Florida, coming up into there. So there's your conveyor belt for the Atlantic. Here's your conveyor belt for the Pacific. Again, over cold water, you get cold air. Over hot water, you get hot air. Hot air rises, the cold air rushes in. These are wind currents created by the heat patterns on the ocean surface. Heat plumes are anomalies, are controlling the weather. And come over here a little bit, show you what's going on there and why that's going on. Put it right there for a second. All right, so there's all that in a nutshell. Let me go ahead and take the winds down. Leave it over here by Taiwan here because we'll probably be talking about that here in just a second in our earthquake report. Let me pull that down, take this down. And, well, we'll come back to that in a minute. Bear with me, I gotta open one up here. Sometimes the computer, when I got more than a couple of pages open, it'll just be cranky poo. All right, satellite, close it all now. Get that stuff out the way, and let's do our earthquake report, okay? Deep region where most of our activity originates, boom. We got a 4.5 down at 5:30. And 4.7 down at 550. So mid-range 4s, Usually put 5 energy into the surface. We have this little island that emits SO2, relieving a lot of the pressure. You see there's no quake activity. There's a lot of volcano and SO2 activity along these islands that relieve a lot of that pressure too. Same here. We get over into this little deeper pocket where sometimes we see some deep quakes. This is a 5.1 at the surface, 5 energy being scrubbed at the surface. Beautiful. Even this one right here is a 4.3. It's our deeper quake down at 290, but that's not deep enough. That's not a deep quake. That's activity on the flank of a volcano. See this volcano island right here? And it's not right on the plate boundary, so just underneath this thing, out in the little fingers, like you ever seen a root structure of a tree, how it kind of reaches out from the trunk? Well, out there at the base of this volcano, on the very flanks out there's that quake. Okay, now let's get up to this. What's going on here? We have a 5 at the surface, scrubbing energy. 5.2 at the surface, scrubbing energy. Remember what I was saying about those 5s? Yeah, it's perfect. Mid-range 6 at the surface, scrubbing energy. Another mid-range 4 there. Sorry, mid-range 4s. A 4.6 and a 4.5. Then this one, 4.9. Look, we had a couple of 5s right here. That's another 5. So a few 5s and a few mid-range 4s, scrubbing energy at the surface. Again, that's excellent. That's a good way of relieving this pressure. The planet's got this like little system. Perforations in the crust, little weak spots. Every time we get an influx of energy or pressure, we have little releases here and there. 4.6 down to 35, volcano island on the flank of the volcano. Again, up here with this one, this will be a 4.6 at 117. Again, on the flank of a volcanic island. Nothing up around there. Let's go this side. Nothing up through this region, except up here in the Gobi Desert. Had a 4.1 at the surface, scrubbing energy around that structure right there. No fulcrum point quakes. No quakes along these plate boundaries or anything. Nothing in Turkey. Nothing in Europe. Okay, so very quiet there. South America, very quiet. We got this one right here, 3.4. And magnitude check out there is a 3.4 as well. Oh, Lord, can we have all the magnitude, please? One more time. There we go. All right, coming into America, nothing at our fulcrum point. Starting to see little micro quakes at these islands out here as we come on in. Coming on into our fulcrum point area, a couple right here, nothing too big. Yeah, all microquake activity all along our multiple fulcrum points there. Coming down this side, we did get some 3 magnitude at the surface, scrubbing energy right there. Take that off, please. Okay, there's your Wanda Fuca. Now, I showed you pressure out there had been kind of relieved. Look how quiet it is. No fulcrum point, no nothing along either plate boundary right there. We did have SO2 emissions all along the volcanic ridge right here. Here we see Mount Rainier with a couple of little quakes on the flanks of Mount Rainier. Here we are at Mount St. Helens with a couple of little microquakes at the top. Little quake here. Here quake, there quake, everywhere, quake. Here's Shasta right there. No quake activity, but we did see huge SO2 plume coming out of there. So watch out. You might see that place erupt. Meanwhile, over here at this lake where they built this neighborhood out on this peninsula here, let me just kind of show you here really quick. You see how densely packed this neighborhood is with streets and everything? And if you look out into the water, you can see it's just a big spire that sticks up through the water here. This is all sand sloughing down this way, sand sloughing down that way to the bottom. Well, that whole structure right there, when it starts to shake around the base of it, that thing might slough and fall away. Somebody needs to kind of alert these people in this area. Hey, your neighborhoods are kind of in a dangerous, precarious spot. And the more this shakes, it could cause liquefaction. We already have water saturated sand, right? That's very, very loose and able to move. Liquefaction, any kind of movement is going to cause that liquefaction to happen even easierly. Even easier. There we go. Easierly. Have fun with it. All right, just microquake activity. We got the geysers going off. I don't see anything too major going on. Our little teardrop structure right here coming out, going up, matching up with the plate boundary, hitting these mountains, coming back out and across, has been doing its thing right along the inside here. We got some microquaking. That's our latest one, is a 1.7, so that's good. It's doing its job, venting energy in that area. Quick check in on Texas. You see, our magnitudes are way down. Pressure's way down. We've had, relief in magnitude in a lot of these areas. In other areas, we don't see quake activity. We're seeing a lot of SO2 emissions. So, all right, there's your quake report in a nutshell, or from a nut. All right, let's do our volcano report here. Get some squiggly lines out of the way. 36 and 33 is 69. Almost 70 volcanoes, because we got the other 25 that I don't even bother putting into that equation, just to kind of be conservative, right? 69 active volcanoes. If I'd have told you 7 years ago when all this started happening to me that 7 years later we would have 69 volcanoes, you would have said, you're crazy like her. And I would have said, no, I'm crazy about you. Here's Luotobi volcano. I pray for her, though. All right, Ebu, 7,000 feet. IBU at 7,000, a little lower in altitude there. Luotobi, nothing. Semeru, 14,000. Dukono, 9,000. White Island in New Zealand, based on observations. Recent images and satellite data, the local volcano observatory confirms that the recent minor eruptive activity at the volcano has ceased. I repeat, eruptive activity has ceased, probably because we have a drop in pressure. All right, moving on. Reventador. That was just in the last few minutes. Let's go and look into the 21st, which was today, but is now, well, yesterday, because time flies at this channel. There's the map of insanity. Do not look at it, because that will desensitize you as to the direness of the situation. Shivaluj. No identifiable thing. Luotobi, 9,000. Semeru, 14,000. Dukono, 9,000. Popocatépetl, no altitude, but still reporting something. So Nevada del Ruiz as well. Don't forget, dragons are real. Sangay, 21,000. Reventador, 14,000. Sabancaya, probably pretty good one. Copahu, about 200 meters. Here's the list of that map. This is just alarming. What if they showed this on the evening news and went, just by the way, there's 69 volcanoes currently active. Did you know that? Here, it's this one, that one, that one, this one, this one. It would probably shock the world if they knew this. But you guys seem to manage pretty well and handle this. You must have a strong foundation. Okay. There's your volcano report. Let's do a quick weather one and get into our spiritual report. How about some tidbits? Kibbles and tidbits. Whoops, did I not hit the model? There it is. All right. So let's just look away at this. So current conditions. Let's get into the morning of the 22nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 23rd, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 24th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 26th, noon, convection, nighttime. 27, noon, convection, nighttime. 28, noon, convection, nighttime. 29. This is out a little further past our range. This is a week away. It's the 22nd, and this is the 29th. But what I want to talk about is an event like this right here. It doesn't look like much, right? It's pretty small on the map, but you got to consider we have particulates, more particulate count in the air. We have all those thermal patches that evaporate water into water vapor. So now we have more water and more particulates for that water to stick to. So now we have upped our volume that storms carry. All right. They're dumping heavier amounts in shorter amount of time. And we're having longer duration storms that just really lay in. So when you see something like this with this little severe dot in the middle right there, now, this is the 29th, all right, so it's way out there, but a little severe weather dot like that right over Salt Lake City, snow, you'd see thunder snow, you could see heavy amounts that would, close mountain passes. All the surrounding mountains could see heavy torrential downpours because of severe downpours in that area. You could see landslides, some of the desert has flatlands that drain, and we just saw what Roswell, New Mexico flood out. All right, so lowlands like that can get flooded by flash floods too, as well. So watch out in that and Salt Lake City area around this time frame if you have that severe weather like that, because it just doesn't look like much on the map. But as you saw those two air masses pinched together, let me just kind of zoom back out so I can use the buttons one more time. Okay, it's barely there. You can see all this cold and snow. This is another event to watch up here around the 28th, up in the northern part right there. See, I had severe weather right in there. So that approaches the coast around noon the 27th. There's convection. If you get convection and severe weather hitting the coast, you could see waterspouts making landfall in Oregon there, or Northern California. There's your severity at night. Morning of the 28th. Now watch as this cold air mass collides with this. You see these stripes going down the middle? This separates this moist air from this cold air. And as we progress, boom, you see them slam together into that little event right there. Now let's continue. That'll be the noontime, the 29th, convection, the 29th, nighttime, morning of the 30th. You see icing vents going on up in here. Noon the 30th, another severe round for like Puget Sound area, British Columbia. Convection the 30th, nighttime, morning of Halloween there. Morning of Halloween, noon, convection. So going trick-or-treating in this area, you're going to have severe weather the nighttime, the sundown of the 31st. All you trick-or-treaters in that area, waterproof and stay aware of your weather. Parents and stuff, the kids that are going out trick-or-treating, make sure you guys stay aware of the weather. Don't send your kids out into a tornado, even though you might want to. All right, just joking around. Oops. As you can see, there was cold air up there, but I just went and messed that up. And we were way down here. So 31st, way out there still, but you can see that if we have an event do something like that right there, see how it comes together, it gets moist right here. So the morning of the 31st, or Halloween morning, if you see rain and stuff starting to gather and storms gathering here in the central part of the country, I'd continue to watch and make sure that this air mass collision storm here, when it goes convection and starts to get severe, just keep an eye. There's the nighttime of the 31st, morning of the 1st, November 1st, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 2nd. Look at this low, how it just wrapped up and starts getting organized. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 3rd, noon, convection, nighttime. Another little rotation, possibly way out there coming into Florida again. That'll be the morning of the 4th, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 5th, noon. Oh, please, no. Wow. Let's all pray that that doesn't happen. Let me just show you something. Okay. Here is your rainfall amounts, 24, 16, 10. Let me get my thing out of the way so you can see the coloration chart there. Maybe even pull it forward a little bit better. And we got purples, pinks, reds, yellow, that whole area that just got hammered. Yeah. So that's way out there, but let's an event like that would be not good. So everybody just stay on your toes. It's way out there, but you would have quite the head start on this. Let me take the. Oh, I can't. Okay, you see the outer bands of weather already creating rain in that area. Then this thing makes landfall. Let's go right about. That's the rain bands outside of it. Let's stick with that one right there. It's a pretty good, well-defined landfall of the rain curtains and severe weather of this storm would be convection of November 4th. Landfall right, severe weather landfall, the outer bands right there, the 961 millibar low. So if you have plans to be in that part of the country around that time, there's even snow in that? Are you kidding me? No. Well, you never know. These mountains back here, as this air wraps around, it's cold air colliding with cold air or with more moist air rotating back into the cold. That could produce some really heavy snowfall amounts in that Kentucky, Tennessee border area right there. You see severe weather, severe amounts, and then it's snow right with it. That could be a severe thunder snow event. We'll watch this closely because that's all subject to change there. All righty. I think that covers it because that was just the last few frames anyways. Okay, so go ahead and let that play one more time. There's your weather forecast for the country for the next couple of weeks. All subject to change. If we have a severe geomagnetic storm, that would possibly enhance any kind of storm activity as well. But that's anything after 3 days because our latest geomagnetic forecast is clear. So that should be it for your astrophysics and geophysics. And now it's time to do the spiritual report and get into the metaphysics and how you work. All righty. So let's come on over to this real quick here. I want to go backwards in time. see if I can find really quick old footage that's been around for a long time. Oh, where'd it go? Where they're making the crop circles. There it is. No, I just want the quick little video. It must have been. All right, there we go. You guys see now one with the message in it. Here's a crop circle that somebody found a rock, a magnetic rock with the same symbol as that crop circle. That rock has some amazing properties to it. It heals, it's see-through, makes water boil. You hold it in front of a mirror, you can't see it. A lot of amazing properties to that realm. Where is that video of them making the... It used to be out there. Anyways, there's little white spheres come dangling down over the field and start making this crop circle. Okay, now some people fake these all the time. And then there's the real deal. When you're getting your higher geometry and these things are actually causing magnetic anomalies in the area, they have more than what you think. Now, man has made a bunch of them and you know, hoaxed some, which debunks a lot of it. Where the heck did that go? All right, well, never mind then. I'll have to find it another time. Let's pull up some images then. Why don't we? Read a few things tonight. Because I know what's going on out there. I feel you guys. I'm going through it too. Yesterday was very painful, and I thought I would be in the hospital tonight. But thankfully, the Lord, a prayer and a hot shower while in the hot shower, like baptizing, just healed my back. I was having a back spasm, a cramp that lasted for like 2 hours. And then finally, when it was over, pulled the muscles in my back. So very excruciating. All right, so there's that image we got pulled up. We pull up a couple more. Get rid of this, and we can get rid of the tidbits, and we can go to this new tab and open up a new one. All right, get rid of that. There's another face, and then we want to get, which other one left? Oh, yeah. Go look through the old archive here. We've got all kinds of different things happening in the sky. You know, everybody's talking about the rapture happening right now, and it is happening right now. But the word rapture is not in the Bible. It talks about when you see these things begin to happen, look up. Because when you look up in the clouds, you will see him in the clouds. All right, so this is the images captured Easter 2020. All right, we got all our images, so we'll go right there with one of them. Center that pretty good. All right, so we'll start off with this one. Now, here's my face here being made in the clouds, and it's showing this crown over my face. But what's more important is this face is being projected by Jesus' heart here. You look, he's opening up his shirt like Superman, exposing his heart, and these rays of love are radiating out, making my face in the sky. Also, in this image, let me back out just a tad bit. You could see this alien face over here. See this eye, and it's in shadow on one side of the face. This side's in light right here. And you can see this half a alien face right here. Okay. And they have a job, right? They're watchers. They're the ones that come down with the little balls and rotate over the fields, twisting the grass and causing these formations. All right. These formations have information in them. They have different properties. There's different effects from them, and they also have different messages in them as well. Okay, and all part of the spiritual realm. All right. So as we open this up and get this going here, what did I have for you guys? Maybe we'll start with this one actually. There we go. Get these wavy lines out of the way. Very important you understand this is a real event. It's kind of painful to take all these pictures and hold my camera up like that. So when you see these events, you see this up in the clouds, you get caught up in it, right? You look up, you see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory, and you get caught up in it like a good song or a good book, right? So when you're caught up with me in the clouds, I want you to come away with me for a while. The world, with its nonstop demands, can be put on hold. Most people put me on hold, rationalizing that someday they will find time to focus on me. But the longer people push me into the background of their lives, the harder it is for them to find me. You live among people who glorify busyness. They have made time a tyrant that controls their lives. And even those who know me as Savior tend to march to the tempo of the world. They have bought into the illusion that more is always better. More meetings, more programs, more activity. But I have called you to follow me on a solitary path, making time alone with me your highest priority and deepest joy. It's the pathway. It's a pathway largely unappreciated and often despised. However, you have chosen the better thing, which will never be taken away from you. And moreover, as you walk close to me, I can bless others through you. So many people are getting blessed through others. My light shining through them into other people's lives is just spreading like fire, like wildfire. And that's thanks to a lot of you guys are actually doing this. You didn't know, but you are. Back to this one now. Yeah. Okay, hopefully you see my face here at the ground. You seek my face, you find the heart of Jesus. We're the same. And I am nearer than you think, richly present in all of your moments. You are connected to me by love bonds that nothing can sever. Look at that picture and listen. You are connected to me by love bonds that never sever. That nothing can sever these love bonds right here. You can see them radiating out of the heart. Nothing can separate you from that. Okay, that's where your foundation, that's where your peace and your courage come from. Because I am nearer than you think. I'm closer than you think. I'm already here. Okay. You are connected to me by love bonds that nothing can sever. You may sometimes feel alone because your union with me is invisible. Well, look up now, it's visible. Ask me to open your eyes so that you can find me everywhere. Everywhere. Ask me to open your eyes. You guys are opening your eyes. You can see this. You can see now. I can open your eyes further and you can find me everywhere, in everything. And when you do, all of a sudden, things really open up for you. Because I am nearer than you think. I'm richly present in all your moments. The more aware that you are of my presence, the safer you feel too. Right? Because this time together here brings you guys peace that transcends your circumstances. So you may feel alone at some times, but the more aware you are of my presence, the safer you feel. And this is not some sort of escape from reality either. It is tuning in to the ultimate reality. There is your ultimate reality right there. And right here. There is your ultimate reality. Does not change your circumstances. Okay? And when you look for me, you'll find me everywhere. And the more aware you are of my presence here with you now, the safer you feel. And it's not an escape from reality. It's actually tuning into your ultimate reality. You see, I am far more real than the world you see, than the world you can see, hear, feel, touch. All right? I am far more real than this world you see. The world you see is the Matrix. You're living in the Matrix type of effect, not the actual movie, but that kind of effect, where you're in a different setup here. And it's not an escape from reality. The world you see, hear, and touch, I am far more real than that. So faith is the confirmations of things we do, the things we do not see, and the conviction of their reality. So your faith is the confirmations of the things we do not see, and the conviction of their reality, perceiving as real fact what is not revealed to the senses. So you are perceiving in real fact what is not perceived or revealed to most people's senses. They look at this and they just see clouds. Well, do you see something in these clouds, or do you just see clouds? Do you see a face with a crown and long hair coming with power and great glory on Easter? Because a lot of people just see clouds and go, oh, there's nothing there. I don't see it. So your faith is the confirmation of the things we do not see, and your faith is also perceiving the real fact that what is not revealed to the senses. Now you're seeing stuff that is revealed to the senses. Your faith is being completed. You know that I am nearer than you think. You now know that I am here. What was the other one I had? Yeah. Let's just leave it at that one right there. Right now, it's important you bring me all your feelings, even the ones you wish you didn't have, like fear and anxiety, because fear and anxiety still plague you, and feelings per se are not sinful, but they can be temptations to sin. These blazing missiles of fear fly at you day and night. These attacks from the evil one come at you relentlessly, especially when you're watching too much news, right? Yeah, you guys remember you're plugging in and unplugging because those blazing missiles of fear that fly at you day and night, well, those are your broadcast, your news broadcast day and night. It's not this and it's that. Oh, it's this or it's that. There's just constantly fear on your TVs day and night because blazing missiles of fear fly at you day and night. And these attacks are from the evil one and they come at you relentlessly. So you have to use your shield of faith to extinguish those flaming arrows. That's your daily work of salvaging your day. Okay, Lord, help me. I'm getting flaming arrows, firing at me. Help me. Give me a shield, Lord, that shield of faith that extinguishes those flaming arrows. Affirm your trust in me, regardless of how you feel. That's a hard one because sometimes you're gritting your teeth. I'm hating this. Oh, God. But you have to affirm your trust in me regardless of how you feel because it's a test. You're overcoming an adversity, and during that process it's uncomfortable. But if you affirm your trust in me regardless of how you feel, if you persist, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. Takes a little while, but if you persist, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. So do not hide your fear or pretend it isn't there. Anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart will give birth to fear, which is a monstrous stepchild. So bring your anxieties out into the light of my presence where we can deal with them together. Concentrate on trusting me, and fearfulness will gradually lose its foothold within you. Is that thing too bright, or why's the camera all weird on that? There we go. There's okay, that's my face again out there by the moon. How did that happen, huh? That's why I seek my face, because you'll seek my face and you'll find it. And you found me. Seek my face, and you will find all that you have longed for. The deepest yearnings of your heart are for intimacy with me. I know because I designed you to desire me. Do not feel guilty about taking time to be still in my presence. You are simply responding to the tugs of divinity that are within you. I made you in my image, and I hid heaven in your heart. Whoa, what was that? What did he just say? I hid heaven in your heart as well. See that? There we go. I know you because I designed you, and I designed you to desire me. So do not feel guilty about taking that time to be still in my presence. You're responding to tugs of divinity. Where else? Your yearning for me is a form of homesickness and longing for your true home in heaven. So Do not be afraid to be different from other people. The path I have called you to travel is exquisitely right for you. It's your path, exquisitely designed for you. Everybody else got different paths that are designed for them. That's why you can't be envious of other people. Oh, I want what they have. I want what they have. You have no idea the heartaches and headaches they have. It might look like a nice car they're driving, but you have no idea what their home life is like. That's why they have a nice car, is to escape their home life, and they drive around. So you don't have to be afraid to be different from other people. You're supposed to be unique, exquisitely unique. The more closely you follow my lead, the more fully I can develop your gifts. To follow me wholeheartedly, you must relinquish your desire to please other people. However, your closeness to me will bless others by enabling you to shine brightly in this dark world. It's going to enable you to do like this and shine brightly in this dark world. There was a lady today that I ran into in the midst of all my turmoil. I'm out there battling this world too, okay? Spiritual warfare where I go. And there was a lady today who, with a smile in her voice and in her eyes, just said hello, and her face lit up just like this. I was like, wow, thank you. I feel a lot better. That light just came right through you and into me. And that's exactly how it's supposed to work. My light shining through you into other people's lives. Hopefully these tools that I'm giving you, well, I know some of you have been using them very effectively, and you're actually living rich and full now. If you aren't having all that success, keep going. Just keep digging. You might not find it right away, but be persistent. Okay, we're practicing patience, persistence. We're overcoming adversity every day now. So at the end of each day, you might not feel good, but you have overcome some adversities that day. Whether you know it or not, you did. You overcame something. Everybody did. And if you're at this show and we're at this point of the day, you have overcome some things as well. So congratulations, you guys. Keep working, keep salvaging your days. It's hard. Maybe it doesn't work right away. Maybe you don't even feel the effects. But if you continue to just stay depressed and slip into that pit of self-pity, you don't stand a chance. So the moment you start feeling selfish or self-pity, step back from that slippery pit. The further you go in, the harder it is to come out. So every once in a while, it's important to, if you're about to lose composure, take a moment, a few deep breaths, a few prayers, whatever works for you. I hear some really good ones that are very effective. You guys are actually using it properly. Continue to pray for each other. These times are, well, the times. And you see what's happening around the world. Remember, if you're getting rattled by what you see in the news or what you see on the internet, unplug from it. Quit watching it. If it gets you rattled, take a break, take a moment, take a few deep breaths to regain composure. Maybe it's better not to look at so much stuff all the time. Maybe read the headlines, but you don't have to get into the body count and all the gory details or whatever. It's okay to be, knowledgeable, but you don't have to saturate your brain with nasty images, right? Here's some good images to soak your brain with right here, okay? Not brainwashing you, but we are kind of cleaning out the junk that society programmed you with, okay? And everybody's thinking rapture, rapture, rapture. They're programmed with the word rapture. Yet that word is not in the Bible. All these worldly Bible scholars, I mean, we're talking worldly Bible scholars, are just still insisting the rapture. It talks about when you see these things happen and come to pass, look up into the clouds. You will see me coming in the clouds. This is me. This is my face. This happens all the time around me, everywhere I go. UFOs, angels, demons, attacks, the paranormal events that happen to me would just probably send most of you into an insane asylum. But when that stuff begins to happen to you in your life, you'll understand why. You will have the tools. You will have the foundation to carry on, to salvage your day, to be able to recuperate your day and bring that light into other people's lives. Teach them how to salvage their day so they're not depressed either. You don't stand a chance to steal your joy, okay? So you gotta, this is like, you know that movie Mortal Kombat where they scream, the music comes out, ding, 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 Mortal Kombat. Well, this is mental combat. All right. Doesn't matter how much preps you have and stuff, they're no good if you don't have your head screwed on straight. Okay. And I'm giving you the tools, I'm giving you the foundation so you will have what it takes to walk and to stand on that day. All right. What you're looking at was captured on Easter. It's my face with the crown, like I showed you before, showing up in the clouds on Easter. This is real. All these images are real. This is before AI. This wasn't like is it photoshopped or anything like that. These are real images, and most people just see clouds. So if you see this face with a crown over it, you're blessed. Most people just see clouds. And it was your faith that enabled you to see that. If you didn't have your faith and believe, then you wouldn't be able to see that. You would just see clouds. So I am indeed here. You are caught up like a good book or a good song or a good TikTok thread where 4 hours later you look up and you're like, whoa, where have I been for the last 4 hours? Oh, stuck in a TikTok thread or whatever. You get caught up in it. It takes you away from your circumstances for a minute. That's what caught up means. Doesn't mean turning into a little dot and rising up into the air or your body's lifting up into the air. No, it doesn't say anything about that. It says, when you see these things come to pass, lift up your head. Your redemption draws nigh. Your redemption, being your Redeemer, draws nigh means is near or here. Actually means is here. When you see these things come to pass, your Redeemer is here. See, all these things are happening because he's here. He's been here, here. He's already here for the longest time, for 7 years. The rapture has been happening for 7 years. It's not like a one-day event. You look up, you see this in the clouds, all of a sudden you can't look away. You can't pay attention to the road anymore. You can't even figure out what you're going to have for dinner tonight because you just saw this in the clouds and it rattled your day. You got caught up with me in the clouds. And I went ahead and made a place where I am, you may be also. I can't come over to your house and give you a big hug right now, as much as I would like to. But I can meet you in the air of cyberspace by going live on YouTube. You are caught up with me in the clouds, where we met in the air of cyberspace, where I went ahead and made a place that where I am, you may be also. Okay. You are raptured. You see this? You are complete. I finish your faith. I complete your faith. Now you know. Okay. This is real. This is so very real. I am more real than the world around you. That's how real I am. You're in my movie. You're in my matrix. Do you get that? Ah, see? And if you are here and you follow me on YouTube like you follow people on Facebook, you are a follower. You follow me. You gave me more than 5 minutes of your time. I couldn't get 5 minutes of people's time to look at the most important thing in history. 2,000-year-old prophecy come true. This blows every headline in history except the one 2,000 years ago out of the water. I don't care if it's World War III starting. It does not change the fact that Jesus is here and that you're here at this channel. And how blessed to be a precious member of this precious family. Take those tools I give you, utilize them, find that peace that overcomes your circumstances. And when you need to take a break, you can come over here, find this image on any video, take a few breaths and step away and get caught up with me in the clouds so you can recuperate your day and bring that light back into other people's lives. It's not tough stuff. It's really easy to do. You smile with your voice, with your eyes. You try to be happy inside and bring that to other people's lives. They will see what you have and want it. And they'll go, wow, where did you find out how to be so positive in such a negative time? And you're going to say, well, because I already know where I'm going. I already seen my victory. I've seen the promised land. You know, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I've seen the promised land. Well, he didn't see the actual land. He didn't look over a hill and see a new green meadow on the other side. He looked up into the clouds and saw me in the clouds and was like, oh, it's real. I have seen the promised land. So now you have too. You're looking at real miracles. That's why they look odd. But that's the real deal. And these are other events that took place here at the same time. I shifted the camera from right to left and took this little event right here too. So you can see that this is not just a series of pictures that I tried to morph together. This is your foundation. Turning into this lion face. Okay, it's because I'm back. I am back. I love you. I miss you. Until my next show, I will be back again. I am already back. I'm here and I am still to come. Okay? You are caught up with me in the clouds, where we met in the air, cyberspace, where I went ahead and made a place where I am, you could be also. Pretty easy stuff. You grasp that, the more you trust me, the more peace, the more courage, the more power you'll have too. Okay. I love you all. I miss you all. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back and I am still to come. Can't you tell?